Here's a secret that wealthy people don't want you to know. Money doesn't actually make you rich. I know that sounds completely backwards, but stay with me because what I'm about to share will completely flip your understanding of wealth, inheritance, and financial freedom. I've been studying people who built and lost fortunes after the age of 60, and what I discovered challenges everything we've been taught about money. These aren't theories from business school textbooks. These are real lessons from real people who learned the hard way that wealth and money are two completely different things. Today, I'm revealing 5 shocking truths about money that the wealthy elite prefer to keep quiet. By the end of this video, you'll understand why some millionaires die broke, while some middle-class families create generational wealth. And more importantly, you'll know exactly how to apply these insights to your own financial future. The first truth is something that will make you question everything you think you know about inheritance. A 64-year-old woman inherited $2 million, and it completely destroyed her family relationships. You heard that right. Getting rich ruined her life. Now you might be thinking, I wish I had those problems, right? But here's what actually happened that changes everything. The moment that money hit her account, relatives she hadn't heard from in years started calling with sob stories and demands. Her own siblings turned against her, claiming she had manipulated their aunt for the inheritance. The money revealed everyone's true character, and it wasn't pretty. This demonstrates what psychologists call the wealth revelation effect. Money doesn't change people, it reveals who they really are. But here's the part that most people miss entirely. The real problem wasn't the money itself, it was her family's relationship with money. They saw it as something to be taken rather than something to be earned. The lesson? Wealth without wisdom is worthless, and sometimes the greatest inheritance is teaching people how to create their own success. The second truth comes from a man who shocked his children by giving away his entire $10 million fortune at 70 years old. His kids still haven't forgiven him, and they probably never will. Now, some of you are probably thinking this guy lost his mind, right? But his reasoning was brilliant and terrifying at the same time. He realized his wealth was making his children lazy and entitled instead of motivated and independent. They were waiting for him to die instead of living their own lives. This illustrates what researchers call dependency corruption, when financial support becomes financial sabotage. His children had become professional heirs instead of productive humans. So what happened when he donated everything to charity and told his kids to create their own success? Initially, they were furious and felt betrayed. But within 2 years, something remarkable occurred. They started thriving like never before because they finally had to rely on their own abilities. The lesson? The best inheritance isn't money. It's the skills and mindset to generate money. Here's where it gets really controversial. The third truth involves bankruptcy, and it completely contradicts what financial advisors typically teach. A 65-year-old man filed for bankruptcy after building a $1 million business empire, and he says it was the best thing that ever happened to his soul. This sounds insane until you understand what actually occurred. He had spent decades defining himself by his net worth rather than his self-worth. When everything collapsed, he discovered something precious. His value as a human being had nothing to do with his bank balance. This connects to what philosophers call material detachment, the freedom that comes from not being owned by your possessions. Now, you might be wondering, how can losing everything be positive? Here's what successful people understand that others don't. Your relationship with money matters more than the amount of money you have. He learned that without money and possessions defining him, he could discover who he really was underneath all that stuff. The lesson? Sometimes you have to lose everything material to gain everything spiritual. The fourth truth challenges everything we believe about expensive homes and status symbols. A 69-year-old woman left her $1 million house to live in a tiny apartment, and she's never been happier. Her family thought she'd lost her sanity, but she'd actually found it after decades of chasing the wrong things. This reveals what economists call the hedonic treadmill, the endless pursuit of bigger and better that never actually increases happiness. She realized she was a prisoner in her own mansion, spending all her time and money maintaining a house that felt more like a museum than a home. The mortgage, taxes, and upkeep consumed her life and bank account. Here's what's really interesting about her transformation. Moving to a small space forced her to keep only what truly mattered, and suddenly, she had time and money for experiences instead of possessions. This demonstrates the minimalism paradox. Having less stuff often means having more life. The lesson? Freedom and status are usually opposites, not companions. The fifth and final truth is perhaps the most shocking of all. It comes from a woman who walked away from her dream job as a hospital director, and it reveals the hidden cost of golden handcuffs that nobody talks about. High salary, prestige, respect. She had everything society told her to want, yet she felt empty inside every single day. This illustrates what researchers call success syndrome, when external achievement creates internal emptiness. She was spending more time in meetings than helping patients, which completely contradicted why she became a nurse 40 years earlier. Her job had become a well-paid betrayal of her original purpose. Now, some of you are probably thinking, how can someone just walk away from financial security? Here's the truth that wealthy people know but rarely share. There's a difference between being financially secure and being financially trapped. She discovered that volunteering at a free clinic brought her more joy in one day than years at her corporate job. The lesson? Sometimes the highest paying job costs you the most in terms of life satisfaction. What all these stories reveal is a fundamental truth about money that most people never learn. Money is a tool, not a goal. It's a means, not an end. And the wealthiest people understand that true wealth isn't about accumulating money. It's about creating the freedom to live according to your values. The research shows that people who build lasting wealth share three common traits. First, they understand that money without purpose is meaningless. Second, they prioritize financial independence over financial accumulation. And third, they know that the best investment is always in themselves and their relationships. Here's what you can do starting today. Instead of asking, how can I make more money? Ask, how can I create more value? Instead of focusing on getting rich, focus on becoming wealthy in terms of time, relationships, and experiences. And instead of comparing your financial situation to others, compare it to your own values and priorities. Your worth isn't your net worth. Your success isn't your salary. And your legacy isn't your bank balance. True wealth is having enough money to stop thinking about money and start thinking about what really matters. If this opened your eyes to a different way of thinking about money, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell me which of these truths surprised you the most. And if you're ready to learn more unconventional wisdom about building real wealth, hit that subscribe button because I've got more eye-opening content coming that will challenge everything you think you know about money and success.